Have you ever stopped at a red light, looked at the car next to you and wondered, how does everyone have so much money? You see a 25-year-old driving a brand new Mercedes. You see your coworkers posting photos from a luxury resort in Dubai. You see people wearing shirts with logos that cost more than your rent. You look at your own bank account, you look at your own life, and you feel a deep, sinking sensation in your stomach. You feel like you are failing. You feel like you are falling behind. But I am here to tell you a secret that the financial industry, the fashion industry, and social media platforms desperately want to hide from you. Most of the people you are jealous of are not rich. They are broke. They are drowning. They are participating in the largest financial illusion in human history. Welcome to Infinite Systems. Today, I am going to expose the pandemic of the fake rich. I am going to show you the brutal mathematical reality behind the shiny cars and designer clothes, and why trying to look wealthy is the exact reason you will never be wealthy. Let's start with a definition. What is wealth? Most people define wealth by what they see. If a man drives a Lamborghini, lives in a mansion, and wears a Rolex, society calls him wealthy. But this is a fundamental misunderstanding of money. Wealth is not what you see. Wealth is what you do not see. Wealth is the money that was not spent on the Lamborghini. Wealth is the portfolio of index funds quietly compounding in the background. Wealth is the business equity that generates cash flow while you sleep. Wealth is options. Wealth is freedom. What you are seeing on Instagram and at the red light is not wealth. It is income, or worse, it is debt. When someone buys a $100,000 car, the only thing you know for sure about their finances is that they have $100,000 less than they did yesterday. Or more likely, they have $100,000 more in debt. This brings us to the anatomy of a fake rich person. How do they do it? How does a person with a mediocre salary afford a luxury lifestyle? The answer is leverage, but not the good kind of leverage that builds businesses, the toxic kind. They use leases, loans, and credit cards to finance an illusion. Let's break down the car first. The car is the ultimate status symbol. A fake rich person doesn't buy a luxury car with cash, they lease it. They walk into a dealership and sign a contract to rent a depreciating piece of metal for $1,000 a month. To them, $1,000 a month feels manageable. They can make the payment, so they think they can afford the car. But let's look at the opportunity cost, the invisible price tag. If you took that $1,000 a month and invested it into the S&P 500 instead of giving it to BMW, over 30 years, that money would grow to over $2 million. By leasing that car to impress strangers at a red light, you are literally incinerating $2 million of your future freedom. You are trading decades of peace of mind for a leather steering wheel. Next, let's look at the clothes. The Gucci belts, the Louis Vuitton bags, the Balenciaga sneakers. Why do people buy these things? Is a $500 t-shirt 500 times better than a $10 t-shirt? Of course not. It is made in the same factory from the same cotton. You are not paying for the shirt. You are paying for the logo. You are paying for a billboard on your chest that screams, "Look at me, I have money." But here is the tragic irony of luxury brands. Truly wealthy people, the billionaires, the titans of industry, rarely wear them. Look at Mark Zuckerberg. Look at Warren Buffett. Look at Bill Gates. They wear plain, unbranded clothing. They don't need to prove they have money because their bank accounts do the talking. The people who buy loud, logo-heavy clothing are usually middle-class people who are desperate to simulate wealth. It is a paradox. The harder you try to look rich, the poorer you look to people who actually understand money. And then there is the lifestyle, the trips, the dinners. The fake rich fund their weekend escapades with high-interest credit cards. They swipe the plastic and worry about the consequences later. They are paying 25% interest on a steak dinner they already digested 3 months ago. They are trapped in a cycle of performative living.
They have to keep posting. They have to keep upgrading. If they stop, the illusion shatters. Behind the filters, they are suffocating. They can't sleep at night. They hate their jobs, but they can't quit because they need the paycheck to service the debt on the things they bought to impress people they don't even like. It is a prison cell with golden bars. Now, let's contrast this with the anatomy of a real rich person. Real wealth practices something called stealth wealth. Stealth wealth is the art of being invisible. A truly wealthy person drives a 5-year-old Toyota or a standard F-150. They live in a house that costs a fraction of what the bank approved them for. They wear comfortable, unbranded clothes. If you saw them in a grocery store, you would never guess they're a multimillionaire. Why do they do this? Because they understand that status is a trap. Status is a zero-sum game. If you buy a nicer car than your neighbor feels bad. So he buys a boat. Then you have to buy a bigger boat. There is no finish line. You run on a treadmill until you die of exhaustion. The real rich refuse to play the game. They step off the treadmill. They optimize their lives for freedom, not for applause. They don't care if the valet doesn't respect their car. They don't care if a stranger thinks they are poor. Their validation comes from within. Their validation comes from looking at their investment portfolio and knowing that if they wanted to, they could buy the entire dealership in cash. But they choose not to because they prefer the feeling of security over the feeling of status. So, how do you escape the fake rich pandemic? How do you stop poisoning your own future? It requires a massive shift in your identity. You have to change what you value. First, you must stop comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. Remember that social media is a curated lie. Nobody posts a picture of their credit card bill. Nobody posts a picture of their panic attacks at 3 a.m. They only post the shiny moments. When you feel jealous of someone online, remind yourself you are looking at a marketing campaign, not a reality. Second, you must redefine success. Success is not a Rolex. Success is waking up on a Tuesday morning and realizing you don't have to go to work if you don't want to. Success is being able to pay for your parents' medical bills without blinking. Success is having a quiet mind. If you want to win, you must optimize for these things. Third, you must embrace the boring. Building real wealth is boring. It is incredibly boring. It is automating a portion of your paycheck into index funds every single month. It is driving the same reliable car for a decade. It is cooking meals at home. There is no adrenaline rush in buying an S&P 500 ETF. There are no likes on Instagram for maxing out your Roth IRA. It is a quiet, lonely, unglamorous process. But 10 years from now, when the compound interest hits the exponential curve, your life will explode with options. You will be the one who is truly free, while the fake rich are still chained to their tar payments, sweating every time the economy dips. You have a choice to make today. You can choose to look rich in your 20s and be poor in your 40s. Or you can choose to look broke in your 20s and be a multimillionaire in your 40s. You cannot have both. The math does not allow it. Swallow your pride. Put away your ego. Stop playing a game that is designed to bankrupt you. Start building the invisible empire. Let them laugh at your old car. Let them call you cheap. Their laughter will fade. Your wealth will compound. Choose freedom. Welcome to the system.